Usually you buy the meat, it's kind of looks like red, right? Mm-hmm. But corned beef, if you look at it, it's pink. So that's because of the salt. That might help you if you want to search. I'm sure Google can give you some idea.
I just want to say it on the record.
Time to wake up. Got to go to work every night and day. Working so you eat and have a place to stay. Your mama goes to work, your daddy takes a turn at night. I'm Jay Gilday, and you're listening to Clock In, a podcast from ECAMP, the Edmonton City as Museum project. Each episode, we help people talk to their parents about the work they did when they were younger, to learn how working life has changed here in Edmonton. On this episode, Saniya and Nas.
Absolutely. So my name is Saniya Ghalehdar, and I am the daughter of someone named Nas Ghalehdar, and he's one of the previous and former owners of Teddy's Bar and Grill on Jasper Ave. And I think he's got a really interesting story to tell, and it's an honor to be one of his kids, and I'm happy to be here with you. Yeah.
So I got to say right off the top that the people that I met when I first came to Edmonton, I got here, I think, around 1997, and I was kicking around, with high school kids, and a lot of those people ended up playing in bands that played at Teddy's.
Oh my gosh, right? It's got such a cool history and vibe. Absolutely. I'm sure a lot of people have been through the walls of and hallways of Teddy's. Yes. Yeah, it's
really such a cool place, and I gotta say that I've never been there.
Really?
Even after all these years, I've just heard so many stories that I'm not sure it would live up to my expectations if I did show.
Right? Well, maybe we should do a brunch there one day, Jay. The three of us can go have a meal.
You might know Teddy's as the restaurant on Jasper Avenue across the street from the church where Wayne Gretzky got married, but it long predates that spot. Ted Gardner opened the first Teddy's in 1932. He passed it on to a small group of local Jewish business owners, and later they sold it to another Jewish owner, Saul Reichert, a Holocaust survivor from Poland. Saul ran it for over half a century, and it was during his time that Teddy's moved to that space on Jasper on 114th Street. Saniya's dad took it over after that. Saniya reached out to my producer, Chris Chang-Yen Phillips, and I to share that story. You worked there back in the day?
I did. I had my sister and I both have had stints there. My parents worked together for most of I think my mom worked with my dad for about 6 of the 11 years my dad owned it. But yeah, obviously he's the center of the story that while we were there. But yeah, absolutely, it helped me pay off some of my student loans, and I probably wasn't the best. I was doing a lot of serving and that kind of thing. But probably wasn't the best server. But I learned a lot from that job. And when you work with your family, it's a very interesting dynamic. Probably very different than when you're just working with folks that you've never met before.
Most importantly, I'm curious to know if there is anything specifically that you're hoping to find out about talking with your dad about this.
I think when folks, I've heard from so many of my friends that have unfortunately lost their parents that they didn't get a chance to ask certain things and to know certain things about their parents. And my dad was in the hospitality industry for 32 years. 11 of those years was at Teddy's. And I think that was probably the coolest and the hardest part of his work history, just with the amount of responsibility that he had. And I really want to make sure that I ask him things, and we kind of get his story on paper somehow or recorded somehow, because I think he's got a lot of nuggets to share with folks. And so I was excited about this for that reason.
Yeah, because your family's not from here.
No, my parents immigrated from Iran originally. Yeah, so definitely. And I think all 4 immigrant families that have owned Teddy's have all been from somewhere else.
So
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah.
And it's such an Edmonton story. Like so many of the things that we love about this city are were built by immigrants,
Truth.
and it's made it pretty special.
When you and your sister were serving at Teddy's, was he there? Like, were you working under?
Yeah, so we worked there at different times. I worked with my dad pretty directly, but my sister worked with both my parents, so that was probably a different kind of a feel. But yeah, I got to watch my dad in action, and sometimes you hear that it doesn't go well when you're working with family members, but my dad is like one of the calmest, gentlest people you could meet, so it was actually like a pleasure working for him, because I wasn't sure. I was like, all I know is I need another gig because I gotta pay my way through life kind of thing. At that point, I was still fresh, stepping away from schooling, and he was just so kind, and I learned so much working under him and with other staff, of course. And just the way that people would react to my dad and look at him, and the respect that because I think there's a difference in leadership too. Some people demand it, but my dad's not that kind of a leader. He kind of leads by example, and then you just want to be in his sphere. So he's one of those kind of people. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I can't wait to meet him. By the way, on the subject of Teddy's, ECAMP is hosting an Edmonton Trivia Night at Teddy's on Tuesday, November 18th. I'll be co-hosting, we'll share some stories from the podcast, and I'll be playing a few songs on my guitar. More details in the show notes and the ECAMP website. So we met Saniya again the next day, when Saniya's dad generously met us on his birthday to dish about his time at Teddy's.
Jim Kerrigan is one of the regulars,
loyal.
Very loyal to amazing human.
Would be there for 10 o'clock coffee, go to work, come back for lunch with a couple of his colleagues, and always wants clam chowder soup.
We know his order. You know to know people's orders. Yeah.
Oh, hi, my name is Nas Ghalehdar.
I'm so happy you guys are able to talk to us. I know you came from Iran. Did you directly start working at Teddy's after that?
I believe for a few years I worked at the Alberta environment, 8 to 5 kind of job, but it was more of a desk office, doing research for underground water mapping. But I found myself, this job was not fulfilling my this lifestyle. So at one point, we used to, for coffee break, as a department or as a branch group, we would go for coffee. We went across the street a couple times. We had coffee, a little bit of a snack. Then I went for lunch. I found out that I should get involved. Then I got a part-time job in restaurant in the evenings and weekends. And then I found out that that lifestyle can fit in wanted to be more active and using not just my brain, but also using my hands and creativity and a whole lot of other things, including marketing and things like that. At the time, we did not have social media, internet that you guys have. So there were other forms, like Yellow Pages or whatever. And I kind of found out that I could excel in this field. That helped me a lot. So I kind of switched from this office job to a full-scale, hands-on business running a restaurant. Yeah. A few years later, though.
So had you gone to school in Iran before you came to Canada?
You mean academic? Yes,
sure.
I did. I took a diploma in math in Iran, but then I went teenager. I went for studying in mechanical engineering, and then didn't want to go back to our home country, called it Iran, and decided to come to Canada, and we found it was very welcoming.
Did you already have a family when you came over?
No, none, nobody. Just me, my wife, and a little girl, a year and a half kind of, Saniya.
Saniya, how are you doing today? And how old were you when you came to Canada?
I think my parents arrived in 1988, and I think I was like not quite 2 years old, if I'm getting that part right. Yeah. So my parents had a stopover in Bangladesh for a very short time. So I was actually born there, and then they came over when I was like under 2. Yeah. Yeah. Quite the journey. Yeah.
You won't remember. You won't remember.
I don't remember any of it.
No.
You guys have had quite the journey. Yeah. Dad, do you want to tell them about how you approached Saul, the previous owner, when you wanted to inquire about taking over Teddy's?
Yeah, I've been here almost 16, 17 years in Edmonton at the time, and kind of had few restaurants, different locations in Edmonton. Also, I was involved in residential condo building. Like I had it. I sold all of those, and just looking around, doing this and that. And one day I had one of my ex-manager at one of the restaurants called me and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm still looking around." And she mentioned that, "Come and see me at Teddy's." All right, Teddy's is just 1 block away from where we live, Oliver neighborhood. And at that time I said, "Okay, I'll stop by for a coffee." So I went there, I saw the operation. Then she said, "By the way, the owner might be willing to let go of the business." I said, "Okay, but you know, I've done it all. There's nothing new for me and challenging. Like, my personality is always looking for extra curriculum, extra excitement in my life." And then she said, "Here is the phone number. Why don't you reach out to him?" So we met at some Starbucks, second cup. Saul Reichert made it there, and he met us. He asked me, "So what is it on your mind?" I said, "I'm looking for real estate, to be honest. I want to buy the building." But he said, "Well, you have to, I'm selling the business." I said, "I have all the expertise. I've done all the departments in restaurant, but I want to also get involved in the real estate part of it." So he said, "Well, let me talk to my lady, Toby Reichert, the wife, his wife," and he invited us for dinner. So we went over. "Yeah, you can buy at this price," a little bit overpriced, but we managed to somehow make a deal.
When you were looking at the business and the building, were there some things you were scared about as far as the business or the building itself?
Not at all.
It was a good deal.
That part of being scared is when you actually don't know much about the operation. There was no department that I did not know. They have banquet room. They still do, I guess. Banquet room on the second floor. They have dining room. They had the lounge, bar, and entertainment. They call it gaming room. Yeah, I have had all of those in other part of the city prior to that.
This is Clock In, and I'm Jay Gilday, and we're speaking with Saniya Ghalehdar and her dad, Nas Ghalehdar.
How would you describe what Teddy's was like before you bought it?
It was unique in a way that they had their own recipe for some of the items that you could not pretty much find it homemade. Corned beef, they actually cured it for 21 days. Different like big piles of briskets, beef briskets they would put in with spices and date them properly with the, and make sure it's sealed in a separate walk-in cooler. It was a big operation to do that part. Yes, I had no experience in that, but the crew that he left for me were just amazing. Like, they were there for 5 years, 16 years, and they did the job like a Swiss watch. You don't have to worry about it. It's on time, everything works, perfect. Yeah.
Did a lot of those people stay with you for a few years?
The kitchen, they stayed with me till the end.
Wow.
Yeah, the kitchen, the major chef and prep guys, yeah, they stayed till the end. I always had extra help coming and going, getting married, young boys, fall in love with the girls, yeah. But, yeah.
Dad, do you want to tell them about Helen and what Helen meant to you?
Helen was one of the chefs that actually, she said she was involved in putting together the new building. She was involved in other restaurants that Saul had. 1979, they built the current building. It's brick building, by the way. And she said she was involved in moving out the furnitures from the old shack restaurant to a house across the street and then bring back some of the equipment. But she was there. If you would ask her, Helen, we need you at 5 a.m., she would come in. If you ask her, okay, you're done at 1 o'clock, after lunch, she would go. And then calling her 2 hours later, Helen, one of our cooks did not show up, she would drive back. And she was not a young kid. She was 65, 70, something, even at the end. Amazing woman. Full of strength, with good brain and good heart. Always hug me and, consider me as his older son. He had two sons, yeah. So you just like my son. And in the morning I go in and she's the one that opened the back door for me. She would hug me and always have, that smile. It makes a whole lot of different feeling when you enter somewhere where you're welcome. Even though the building was mine, the business was mine, but it was a different feeling.
So I understand, Saniya, that you worked there as well, so you must have worked with Helen yourself.
Oh my gosh, yes. And even when I did I think maybe a year I worked for you, Dad. But yeah, Helen was a staple there. Everybody in the community knew her. She was everyone's grandmother. My parents love music, so they would turn music on first thing in the morning, super early, before the sun would even come out. And Helen would be like, I love your music. If she'd met you in the morning, she'd always want to hug you. And she knew so many of the regulars. Yeah, she was everyone's grandma. She was lovely.
This is one of Nas' favorite singers from Iran, Ghalehdar.
My parents would play their Persian playlists.
It was funny, one day I was, usually I go in at 7 a.m. and I had to prepare a lot of things before I give out the float to the bartender. And I was playing so loud, I forgot it's 10 o'clock and this one bartender already opened the front door and all I see is knocking on the door. I opened the door and said, the music is so loud, we can hear it in the bar.
You must have had a favorite dish over the years at the restaurant.
Helen McKay, she was making this beef stroganoff. That was amazing. The ingredients she would put in, like celery and I can't remember. This has been 9 years ago.
Yeah, she had her own recipe.
Yeah. It was so delicious. Every time she make it, she would call me, Nas, you want a fresh batch before I put it in a big pail or whatever? Yeah, she would make me a plate. That was my favorite.
Dad, do you want to talk about, I think there's one of the really cool things that you did at Teddy's was the mentorship aspect. When new employees would come in, you would take them kind of under your wing. Do you want to talk about, especially talk about it during that time and then what it means to kind of look after people that are working for you and under your charge. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it was a lot of good memories. I remember I had a U of A nursing student that she asked for a part-time job. She had to support herself because the student loan wasn't enough. So she was working in the evening, and then we had a young chef working in the kitchen in the evening, very young, Ian. And I would see the girl going to pick up her food order from the kitchen window to the floor. I would see they're all giggling and laughing and things like that. And I said, "What's going on, Ian?" And Ian would say, "Nothing, we're just talking." And okay, we went to the Fringe and we had fun. So I told our daytime chef, Helen McKay, Helen, these two are kind of getting too involved in. She said, "I'll find out." So she found out that actually they are in love, and I said, "Okay, so that's good news." So I kind of talked to Ian and both. I said, "Well, make sure you invite me for your wedding." And yeah, a few hundred people. It was just one of the many that happened. There was another young girl came from England, Samantha Axon, and again she was a server, but then she met another really good experience boy server, and they fall in love. And so in meantime, I talked to them. I said, it's a responsibility to be married. You got to make sure that just financial issues don't make you exhausted or whatever. But yeah, they're all having families here, kids, and I'm just so happy to have all these memories.
Dad, I remember one time you said to me, which I still laugh when I think about it, you were like, you have to be, when you're in these kind of business environments, especially in hospitality, you said to me once, I don't know if you remember this, you were like, you have to be like Beyonce or Lady Gaga, you can't just be one thing. And you're like, you have to have multiple departments. And I think, what do you think about that? What's your advice to, young entrepreneurs around not being one thing, right? Being the Beyonce of the business world.
One thing you cannot ever say, I'm tired. I need a vacation. I need to take a break. All of those things are not part of, especially restaurant. It doesn't work with it. You don't have a 8 to 5 job. You don't have one boss. You might be a business owner, you might be a boss in your environment, but you have to listen to your staff. You have to fulfill their needs. You have to listen to the customer's demand. If they want a soup that they don't make it in other restaurants, you have to be able to somehow bring it in, make it. And if you can do that, you survive. If you just, like most of the menu on this Teddy's restaurant, I had no clue, but I had to learn it. I had to figure out where the ingredients come from. They have a special salt for curing the corned beef that I had to look around where they sell it, because it's not on the shelf. Wholesale clubs don't sell it, so I had to find a salesman who can bring it from Montreal. So they had to bring pallet, and then we buy a small portion from them as we go. So there are some secrets in this that you have to be able to take the task, not be scared. There were a lot of details that I had to learn, and that's part of the job, right? If you want to survive.
What's the name of that salt?
I'm not gonna say. That's it.
I mean, can you tell us what's
I would be betraying Saul. I would be betraying, Saul Reichert and the other guy.
You can't even tell us like the category of salt?
His family was so sensitive
Oh, okay.
Usually you buy the meat, it's kind of looks like red, right? But corned beef, if you look at it, it's pink. So that's because of the salt. That might help you if you want to search. I'm sure Google can give you some
I just
idea.
want to say it on the record. We won't get in trouble. I think this is one of the reasons why I was excited when Chris approached us and wanted to do this, was to just hear what it meant to you. Because I know you were in the hospitality business for 32 years. I know you said 10, 11 of them were with Teddy's, but what did that particular time of your life, that decade, mean to you?
The best part of it was the team that actually was working there. Yes, some of them would leave, some come back, but the best person that stays in my mind, and I always found it, I was lucky to have such a good staff, was Helen McCabe. Well, we had other chefs too that they were awesome, but this one particular person felt for me like she's my adorable person. Like, beside she was doing her work, but it had some personal connection. It made me feel I want to go through the back door. I had the key, I could go through the front door, but I just came through the back door just to see her, with her true kindness that she would just show, not just to me, to even customers, to clients, coming, the staff. She would just crack you up like you can't, like you were not prepared for it. She would say something out of the blue and you would laugh for the whole day, like make you want to be in that location, in that place.
Special people make special places. So Saniya and Nas, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed talking to me and to each other.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode of Clock In, presented by ECAMP, the Edmonton City as Museum Project, an initiative of the Edmonton Heritage Council. It's recorded on Treaty 6 territory in Amiskwitchi, Waskahikan. Clock In was produced by Joe Hartfile and Chris Chang Yen Phillips. Our researcher is Kathy Roy. Artwork and design by Mike Kendrick and Rafaela Loro. Music for this show was produced by Blue Dot Sessions and myself, Jay Gilday. Thank you to our guests, Saniya Ghalehdar and Nas Ghalehdar. On the next episode of Clock In, we head to the food bank to meet Marjorie and Tamazan, a mother and daughter who work together and have some complicated feelings about the weight of following in someone's footsteps. New episodes of Clock In come out every Monday. You can find them in the ECAMP podcast feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen. You can hear all of our episodes on the ECAMP website, citymuseumedmonton.ca. And you can see adorable pictures of our guests from each episode by following ECAMP on Instagram and Facebook at YEG City Museum. I've been your host, Jay Gilday.